mobiles, I don't know what you've got, but it's śrī-rūpa-mañjarī-pada. I don't know if I brought my cartels, if they're in the bag. Oh, they're not in the bag. I can't answer that. But I don't know where the bag is. Probably need the bag. They're probably not in the bag because no, they're probably in the other bag. Or they may be on the table upstairs. They're a bit cracklers. Anyway, we'll do what we can. Yeah. With bhajans, it's nice to have sweet little kartals. The big ones are okay for kirtan. They may be upstairs, they may be in the red bag downstairs. I took them on Harinam yesterday also. But they may be upstairs also. I don't know. Well, we've already briefly mentioned why he would have requested this particular song. He's about to re-enter into his eternal relationship with Rupa Goswami, and here he's remembering that relationship of Rupa Manjari. Rupa Manjari is confidential assistant of Lalita Devi in the spiritual realm. In this world, Rupa Manjari appears as Rupa Goswami. So, as Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj appears as Nayana Manjari, one of the assistants in Rupa's party, appears in this world as Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati. So he's remembering in this song of Narottama Das Thakura, this you could say we're all Rupanugas, followers in the footsteps of Rupa Goswami, remembering his party leader, Rupa Goswami or Rupa Manjari. So let's sing this song of remembrance and why. We could read the translation, it helps us to remember why we're Rupanugas. The feet of Sri Rupa Manjari, Rupa Goswami's eternal form as a gopi of Vraj, are my real wealth. They are the object of my bhajan and puja. They are the treasure of my heart. And they are my ornaments and the life of my life. They are the reservoirs of all rasa for me and the fulfillment of all of my desires. They are the conclusion of the religion of the Vedas for me and are the goal of all my vows, austerities, and the chanting of my mantra. They are the purpose of all my religious activities. By the power of those feet, we're talking, again we'll hear later on how Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj, in his last words, taking shelter of the dust of the lotus feet of Sri Rupa Goswami, just seeing oneself as a grain of dust at his feet. Humility. His shelter, his direction, his grace is all that we have, really speaking. By the power of those feet, my activities will become favorable to devotion. Spiritual perfection will be achieved, and with these two eyes I will be able to actually see. The exquisite beauty of Sri Rupa Manjari's divine feet will shine like the brilliant moon upon the lotus of my heart both day and night, thus giving relief to my afflicted soul. By the venom of the snake of separation from you, my soul has wasted away, and my life is ever afflicted and distressed. O Rupa Manjari, please be merciful and give me the shade of your lotus feet. Narottama Das has taken refuge. In the same mood, Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati Maharaj was meditating and on this relationship and the feeling of separation, intense separation. This is along with Sikshastakam. He had another disciple sing the Sikshastakam. These were the last two, you could say, active interactions with his disciples before he left the world. Anyone find the cartels? He looked in the red bag down my backpack. None of the pockets, not on the table upstairs. Śrī-rūpa-Manjari-pada Sampada sound. Bhajana-pūjana se-mora pranadana se-mora ābharan se-mora jīvanera jīvana se-mora rasa-nidhi se-mora vāñchā-siddhi
se-mora rasa-nidhi se-mora vāñchā-siddhi
se-mora vedera dharama sing both the lines this time, so you only repeat after both the lines. Se-rata-sita-pa se-mora mantra-japa se-mora dharama-karama
se-brata se-mora mantra-japa se-mora
dharama. Then we're back to one line at a time. a-kuvalaya-śaśi se-pade siddhi
se-pade siddhi
nirakibo eduri nayane
nirakibo
Sri Rupa brata-mādhurī-rāśi prān-a-kuvalaya-śaśi
Sri Rupa Manjari dharama-karama-śaśi
prapulita habe niśi-dine
prapulita habe niśi-dine
tu adarśana-ahi a-kuvalaya-śaśi
ādarśana-ahi
ciro-dina tapita jīvana
ciro-dina tapita jīvana.
And we sing 2 lines. Ha rupa korotohiya deho more pada-chāyā Narottama lo sharana
Rupa korodaya deho more pada-chāyā
Sri Rupa Manjari-pada se Mora Sampada se bhajana-pūjana Sri Rupa Manjari-pada se Mora Sampada se Before we carry on, the ladies are sitting in the corridor. Can the men all move over here, please, and let the ladies sit here and here? Come on, move over. I don't know, we have to leave this as it is, but the ladies can come in here. Oh, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati,
Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati, Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati,
Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati,
Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati,
Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada,
Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada.
Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati Goswami Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Oh, Premanandi. Take everything away. Hare Krishna. So before we enter a little bit into the Leela pastimes of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj, one of his, you could say, primary gifts to the world was his explicit emphasis on book distribution. Book publication, book distribution. So yesterday on Sankirtan, maybe others we don't know, here in France, we have 24 devotees reporting distributing books yesterday. And we have 3 very surprise contributors to yesterday's Sankirtan who spontaneously, they met you, I think, Jiva-prān. They met Jiva-prān and spontaneously became members of the Sankirtan party to distribute books yesterday. And they all did something. Mm-hmm. So they all did the same, 1 book each, which was amazing. Young ladies, probably teenage girls, 14, 15, I guess. They'd met Revatinandan Prabhu last year, apparently sometime during the last year, we're here in Paris, and talked to him, and he'd given them a book of some kind or another. So they wanted to share it with others. So they all voluntarily came forward. They all got money for the books too. And 3 of them all did 1 book, 1 medium book each. Their names were Emma, Joey, and Emma. 2 Emmas. Emma, huh?
And Joy.
I thought it said Emma Manjari. Joey or Zoe or Joey? Zoe. So 3 of them, they're young friends, they're all friends. So they're all now members of Lord Chaitanya's Sankirtan party, on their way back to Godhead. So it was a very wonderful experience there yesterday. Oh, I said, I'm sure you all have wonderful experience. First person I spoke to yesterday, the first person I met when I tried to distribute a couple of books there, was that street guy. You know, these people have kind of bags, a suitcase and a kind of a plastic bag and another rucksack, broken type bag, scruffy looking and looking a little bit spaced out, to say the least. So he stopped him. He was just there. And he didn't speak English. I thought he was speaking Spanish, so I thought he was in Spanish, but he wasn't. He was speaking French. And I gave him the book, and he said something, and then he pulled out an Ishopanishad out of one of his bags and said, Hari Bol. And then we kind of roughly talked for a little while, chanted Hare Krishna, Jai Srila Prabhupada, he said. Then he offered his obeisances on the ground. And no, unfortunately, I don't think anyone was looking at that moment. I was trying to get Petit to take a picture of him doing that. He took some pictures of him, but not that one. And then I gave him a Gita, and his face lit up. And he said, I could understand, he said he had no money. I said, never mind, you keep the book. Then he pulled some money out of his pocket and gave me all the money in his hand. And we were dancing together and embracing. He was a devotee already. But I couldn't understand from where, when, or how, but he was. And then he pulled a bead bag out of his pocket too, a japa bag with beads in it. And Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Just a street guy, wandering around. Maybe he's got somewhere he lives, but he looked exactly like, one of the nicest street guy type people. So they're around, and reciprocation. Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj wanted this to happen. He saw them all as devotees, just covered over. So then, with 2 Mahabig books, Bhakti and Sophia, also with 2 Mahabig books, Krishna Prasad Prabhu. And then her first ever day, I believe, if she's here, not this morning, is she with us? There she is. All the way up from Lyon. Didn't even know you existed in Lyon, but you're living in Lyon. With 3 Maha Big Books, 1 medium book, 1 small book, and 1 magazine. Bhakti Manaswini. Oh, first ever. She was right at home. I could see I watched her the first time she approached them. I could see this girl will have no problem distributing books. She was, she was immediately fearless, and just because she's just sort of like a Siksha disciple of Tiger. Priyarani, so also fearless. So fearless, she doesn't even care for big men who are walking in her path. She just knocks them flying as she's going to her objective goals. I saw him yesterday running for these people. She saw they were potential, and she didn't see that there was people walking this way, and she's running that way, and they're over there, and they're they're like this, putting the brakes on at the last minute to stop themselves from bumping into her. And she's fearless. Yeah, but she's definitely got, of course her life goes its own way, but definitely a book distributor. And then somewhere near New Mayapur, with 1 Maha Big Book and 1 Arabic Gita, Fani Bhushan Prabhu. He's really taken quite a bit of an active role this year in the marathon. And again taking every opportunity she can, with 4 Maha Big Books, Bhakti Doina. I don't know if that's pronounced like that. Doina. Bhakti Doina. Oh, she comes out when she can. She's a working lady. And then with 4 Maha Big Books and 3 magazines, Priyarani Devi Dasi. And then, a morning session or early afternoon session, trying to get to her quota here. 2 more days like this, you'll hit your quota. With 1 medium book, 1 small book, and 3 small Arabic books. Vasumati Manjari Devi Dasi. And then at the airport, Charles de Gaulle Airport, with 1 Maha Big Book. She's just returned from Mauritius. You never guess who it is. 1 Maha Big Book, 8 small books, and 2 small Arabic books. Bhakti Yumi will join us today, she said, for the Harinam. So just got back yesterday. Did that at the airport as she was on her way in town. And I'm not sure where he got his books from. If anyone here knows where he's got his books from, please tell me now, because we have to readjust records. With 4 Bhagavad Gita, and this is wrong, and his position is the same. 7 Maha Big Books, back to Eric. Does anyone see him yesterday or know from where he got those books? Did anyone see him yesterday in the city? Because he had 3 Srimad Bhagavatams, but there was no record of him having them in the first place.
No, because Matthias gave him before he left when he dropped us. Is that guy so?
Yeah, he's a book distributor.
So we are counting 2 times the same books.
Yeah, okay, so you have to take them off your score.
Yes, I will take them from the one of today, maybe.
Yeah, take them off today then. He got them off of you. Did he get the Gitas and both books off of you, or just
No, I gave him only
Srimad Bhagavatam? That makes sense because he already had Gita. I keep a day-by-day record of his stock because it's, I have to do that with 8 different devotees because they're so, sometimes they report, sometimes they don't report, and I have to keep a track of all these things. So he's one of them. So that is more or less, that's very clear. If you gave him you had no record of him having Srimad Bhagavatam. You had 1, but not 3. Okay, so we transfer that over, and today you have to take those. I'm sorry, Prabhu.
Okay.
You have to take them off today. Okay. We had to do the same thing with another devotee, which we'll come to in a minute. Then with 7 Maha Big Books, and 1 medium book, and 1 small book. Bhakti Aliyah. She came armed with chain. Yesterday, she chained her bag up to the other bags yesterday. bag stolen the other day, so this time she came with a big chain and locked it really big and chained it up to all the other bags. If you take one, you have to take all of them. It's pretty hard.
She did this distribution in 1 hour, apparently.
1 or 2 hours, yeah. She was a little bit earlier. She went earlier. She was with your wife, I think, but she stayed longer than your wife. 1 or 2 hours. And then with 3 Maha Big Books, 2 magazines and 3 small Arabic books. Kamala Sundari Devi Dasi. And in a short time, and of course he also had engaged these other devotees with 4 Maha Big Books, 2 small books and 3 small Arabic books. Jiva Prān Prabhu. And it was a really disappointing endeavor yesterday with 6 Maha Big Books, 1 medium, 2 small, 1 magazine and 2 small Arabic books, me. We were way below our target yesterday by 14 Gitas. No way I'm going to be able to catch that up, not unless somebody buys 20 off me at one go or something. And then, and same with Jiva Prani, we had the same quota yesterday, but we didn't make it, I'm afraid. Way short. And then with 9 Maha Big Books, 2 medium, 8 small, Patit Pavan Prabhu. Oh. And that's the one from Yoga Lyric.
Yeah. He met yesterday a person who heard about the Maha mantras through punk Krishna, something like this. Punk Krishna music. He was hearing a lot of this music, and then when he saw the Bhagavad Gita, he was very enthused to talk with
the devotees met. I saw Manasvini with a really nice black man yesterday. He seemed to be really pious man. He was so into it, just really intelligent and so pious. And I saw a lot of nice people meeting yesterday. There's a missing score here. I didn't read it out. I don't know why. I'll have to check and see why it's not on the list. Maybe somewhere or another, maybe it didn't send. I don't know. Sometimes you put it in and the internet's not on it, it doesn't go. So maybe sitting in unsent mail. I don't know. But there's one score, we'll put it on today's score missing here, I can see that. And then with 22 Maha Big Books, 1 medium and 2 small. Back to Himanshu. Oh. And for those who don't know, it's not Himanshu, it's Mahanshu. But we can't change it, otherwise we have to change the whole year's scores, and it's difficult to do that at this late stage. So we'll get it spelling right from next year onwards. And then with 14 Maha Big Books, 3 medium books, and 6 Arabic, small, Dhyanatai Prabhu. And then with 17 Maha Big Books, 1 medium, 12 small, and 6 small Arabic books, Ekanath Prabhu. And then with 34 Maha Big Books and 3 Arabic books, Bhaktisiddhanta. And even if you take them off, you're still the same spot, don't worry. And then another one of these adjusting factors with 2 Srimad Bhagavatam sets, Panchatattva Prabhu. Because he reported, I keep a track record of every book he takes, because his reporting is so difficult to keep track of. And he's already distributed them according to our records. But he has not distributed them, obviously. He was keeping them in his room or something. So now he's distributing, so when you have to take them off it's like you have to go around in circles like this. Anyway, it's all adjusted. With 2 Srimad Bhagavatam sets, Haribo! He's in Switzerland, French Switzerland right now. And then with 40, second place, last full day on Sankirtan in France this year, not the last ever, but this year, with 40 Maha Big Books and 24 Arabic small books, Harini Devi Dasi. And a big thanks to Harini Devi Dasi for coming and joining us in this marathon this year for 3 weeks or thereabouts, giving us a big boost on our efforts to do a little Sankirtan here in Paris. So big thanks, and wish you a safe journey onwards. Where is she? There she is. To London, and then consequently tomorrow to India. Wow. He's flying tomorrow night to India with a group of devotees. And then with, as Nothing, no big surprise here, but with 30 small Arabic books and again 70 Mahabig books, one and only Rasananda Sankirtan Prabhu, who's being humiliated every day, humiliated in the sense of being humbled. You know, you think, oh God, the guys, you get puffed. When it happens, you actually feel wretched. You feel like, you know, I'm being praised. It shouldn't be like that. And it helps to deflate rather than inflate. Some people don't understand that, but it can. Of course, you can take it the other way, but generally for a Vaishnava, it deflates their false ego. So yesterday, a total of 247 Mahabig books, three big books. Actually, 250 Mahabig books, no big books. 14 medium, 37 small, 7 magazines, 1 Arabic Gita, 82 small Arabic books, and 2 Srimad Bhagavatams, sets for a total of 909.95 book points. Haribol. 2 days left, and today is a glorious day. The best worship of Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj would be, obviously, many things, but I mean, more than anything, Prabhupada said that he emphasized this book distribution. In fact, our own movement is based upon that principle. How Srila Prabhupada was ordered by his Guru Maharaj to preach Krishna consciousness in the West, and he gave him that order. In 1936, when Prabhupada met his Guru Maharaj in Radhakund, not on the painting is wrong, it was actually in the house that Bhaktisiddhanta was staying. It wasn't walking around the Kund and the proper end. It was actually Bhaktisiddhanta was staying in the house established by his father in Radhakund, and that was where the conversation took place. So there he said, he was telling him, if ever you get money, print books. He said there and then, if I could, I would tear down the marble in the temple and use it to print books. Quite a powerful statement. That was one of the last, other than repeating the same basic principle, one of the last interactions with Srila Prabhupada, with his Guru Maharaj. So Prabhupada took that as his life soul, his instruction from his Gurudev, was if ever he got money, to print books. That's why our movement is so emphatic about book distribution. It is the only process which will fulfill all the other purposes of this movement. That's what Prabhupada writes, isn't it? The last principle or purpose of this movement, to write, publish, and distribute transcendental literature to achieve the aforementioned purposes. It's the foundation. That's why Prabhupada said books are the basis. And every time he would judge a program by how many books were distributed, not by how many people came or how nice it was, but he would always ask how many books were distributed. And he was very upset if no books were taken. It was like it wasn't a program at all. That was like his mood. And he'd like to hear, even if it's one, Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj used to embrace the disciples when they'd come back from Sankirtan. You've delivered one person or whatever it is on this ocean of birth and death. It was such an important thing. He put so much emphasis on the printing and publication, as I mentioned yesterday. He established printing presses in the temple room, not in the temple room itself. The deities would be at one end and the press was at the other end. And during the day, the press is running right in front of the deities. That's how much emphasis he placed on it. He named it the Brihat Madanga, the Great Madanga. And if you look, I mentioned in a little note I sent out last night, on the Gaudiya Math logo, on their logo, it's divided into Pancharatrika side and the Raganuga side, two paths going simultaneously. On the Rupanuga side, you'll see the Madanga and the printing press. Printing press is there on their logo. So important to him. To disseminate this knowledge throughout the world. Not just amongst each other, but throughout the world. Through transcendental literature. So, Hare Krishna, thank you all very much. We're going to read a little bit now. And this is some of his, obviously we don't have much time. to go very far. So I'm just going to read on some of his last instructions, just so we can meditate on his heart during his last days. This is on December 23rd, 1936, literally a week or 8 days before he left this world. He said, "Perhaps many people have considered me their enemy because I was compelled to tell the unadulterated truth. I asked them to serve the Lord with all sincerity." People in general in the world, even that is like, too much for them. "I have given much anxiety to many people only because I wanted to inspire them to serve Krishna sincerely without material desire and duplicity. One day they will understand this." Just skip over. "May the ultimate desire to become a speck of dust at the lotus feet of the followers of Sri Rupa remain ever awake in our hearts." Speck of dust comes down in the form of their heart, in the form of their desire, in the form of their will, to be a little tiny, tiny instrument in assisting them in spreading the glories of the Lord. "Let hundreds of dangers, insults, or persecutions come, but in spite of them, do not give up your worship of Krishna. When you see that most people are indifferent to Sri Krishna and show no interest in selfless service to Krishna and in talks about him, don't be discouraged. First of all, never give up your bhajan, your life and soul. Please always chant the name of the Lord, being humbler than a blade of grass and more tolerant than a tree. Give all respect to others and demand none for yourself. Make the worship of the holy name the most important aspect of your devotional life." We're just jumping over these instructions, selected a few. "Know that your true identity is to be a speck of dust at the lotus feet of Sri Rupa Prabhu. Don't go against this identity, which is your treasure. Taking grass between my teeth, I pray repeatedly that I may become a speck of dust at Sri Rupa Goswami's lotus feet, birth after birth." You can see how much this comes up in Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj's teachings, in his life itself, and in the essence of our movement. That's why our movement is we're called Rupanugas. We must never forget that Rupa Goswami is our eternal Siksha Guru. "We need make no effort to remove any of these obstacles. What is necessary?" Oh, I missed one. Sorry. "While living in this world, we encounter many difficulties, but there is no need for us to ever be bewildered by these difficulties. We need make no effort to remove any of these obstacles. What is necessary for us while we are still here is to learn what is beyond. What will be the nature of our eternal life? It's like a person under the clouds. You're constantly battling to try to counteract whatever effects are experienced under the clouds. But as soon as you rise above the clouds, there's no more problem. They don't exist anymore. Well, they exist, but they don't affect you in any way. So the secret is saying you rise above the clouds, not battle all your life dealing with all the this and that, this and that, and this and that. Never ending difficulties come, whether it's mental, physical, or social, environmental, whatever. Never ending problems will be there. And as much as we try to deal with all these things, we may have to obviously deal with some of them that are absolutely urgent, but ultimately that's not our business. Our business is to rise above it. That's his message. If you wish to triumph over attraction and repulsion, then you should remember that by becoming attracted to the transcendental holy name, you will be delivered from them. Attraction to the holy name, real attraction, not just trying to be an enjoyer of the name. The holy name is more compassionate than the Lord of the name. The holy name is more compassionate than the Lord of the name himself. If one takes shelter of the name, then it unravels all of these philosophical complexities. That's another level of you can spend all your life trying to work out seeming complexities or contradictions in philosophical areas. But he's saying here that by taking shelter of the holy name, more compassionate that all of one's philosophical complexities will be cleared up. By taking shelter of the holy name, all these obstacles are removed and we can obtain the fulfillment of our true desire, which is to dwell in the realm of pure love of Krishna. The only thing anyone should strive for is the one supreme goal of life. That is the treasure of love for Krishna's lotus feet. So join together, all of you, and strive for this goal. Work together harmoniously with a single thing in mind and a single understanding. Working together with the same purpose, we will become qualified for the service of Radharani, the original reservoir of love of Krishna. May the stream of ideas promoted by Sri Rupa Goswami and his followers ever flow. We must never try to be independent of his doctrine. In the performance of Sankirtan, if your single-minded devotion goes on increasing, then all your desires will be fulfilled and all your goals achieved. Take hold of the feet of the followers of Sri Rupa Goswami and follow them with exclusive commitment. Preach the message of Sri Rupa and Raghunath fearlessly and with great enthusiasm. Through this preaching, you will attain all perfection. So this is just a selection of some of his very last, literally his last words of instruction to disciples, you could say. And we have a little more time, so we'll just read a few, we'll say some prayers first. Shri Guru Vandana Kori Tanhara Charanadori, Shri Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada, Arajata Shikha Guru Sabe Vāñchā Putoru, Kripakara Gutrukho Vishad. I offer my obeisances unto my spiritual master, our ground spiritual master, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati Prabhupada, and take hold of his lotus feet, and unto my various Siksha Gurus, who are all like desire trees. I pray, please be merciful and remove all of my sorrows. That was written by our Srila Prabhupada. That was a prayer our Srila Prabhupada wrote to Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati. So on behalf of our Srila Prabhupada, we're offering that prayer today. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati Iti Namine. I offer my respectful obeisances unto His Divine Grace, Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati, who is very dear to Lord Krishna, having taken shelter at his lotus feet. Shri Varshabhana Vide Vidayataya Kripabdaye Krishna Sambandha Vijnana Dayane Prabhave Namaha. I offer my respectful obeisances to Shri Varshabhanavi Devi Dayata Das, another name of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati, who is favored by Srimati Radharani and who is the ocean of transcendental mercy and the deliverer of the science of Krishna. Madhuryo Chvala Premadhya Shri Rupanuga Bhaktida Shri Gaura Karuna Shakti Vigrahaya Namostute. I offer my respectful obeisances unto you, the personified energy of Sri Chaitanya's mercy, who delivers devotional service which is enriched with conjugal love of Radha and Krishna, coming exactly in the line of revelation of Srila Rupa Goswami. Namaste Gauravani Srimurtaye Dinatarine Rupanuga Varuda Apasiddhanta Dvanta Harine. I offer my respectful obeisances unto you, who are the personified teachings of Lord Chaitanya. You are the deliverer of the fallen souls. You do not tolerate any statement which is against the teachings of devotional service enunciated by Srila Rupa Goswami. Pānachiya sehetu pachar. These are some of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj's statements also. A person must have life to be a preacher. A dead man cannot preach. I remember one time Mahavishnu Goswami, Indian, Gujarati sannyasi. You don't know him. I don't think any of you have ever met him. Maybe Bhaktisiddhanta you ever saw. He used to come to New Zealand. He passed away maybe 12, 15 years ago. I can't remember exactly when. Quite some time ago. He was about 90-something. He was a Bhagavat. He was really a person Bhagavat. He never stopped speaking Srimad Bhagavatam. But one time he was challenged by some followers who'd left ISKCON, and they joined one of the other group, Gaudiya Math, somewhere or another. And they were saying, you know, why do you leave? In ISKCON there's so many problems. He said, you don't have problems? No, not everything's. They were sort of saying that we're okay now. He said, well, that's just like, that proves therefore you're dead. Only a dead body has no problems. Live body, there's bound to be problems if the body's alive. There's bound to be problems. So that means you're dead. He said to them straight in their face, you're dead. Prabhupada's movement's alive, even if you see problems. In fact, even the one they were taking shelter of, a wonderful devotee, Sri Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj, said one time when he was challenged like that, he said, you're seeing problems. You're seeing so much dirt. They were criticizing members of Prabhupada's movement. You're seeing dirt because you're dirty, he said to them. Puri Maharaj, he told his own followers, said, you don't understand. They were trying to point out faults. And they were saying, maybe, Maharaj, you don't understand what we're saying. They were pointing out faults about ISKCON, what they perceived as faults, etc. He said, I understand, you don't understand. You only see clouds. You're under the clouds. You cannot see anything, he said. You don't understand what's going on. He chastised them like anything. It was easy to see faults. Under the clouds, that's all that people see. Everything's a fault, you could say. But those who are above the clouds can see differently. They can see the growth taking place. They can see beyond the here and now. They can see beyond it. And many times disciples, but even now you see, nobody was listening. They gave it up. That doesn't matter, even if no one's listening. The four walls will hear you. That is sufficient. Don't be disappointed. Go on chanting. I wish that every selfless, tender-hearted person of Gaudiya Math will be prepared to shed 200 gallons of blood. I don't know if you have that much blood, do you? You have 200 gallons? How many litres is that? 5 litres in a gallon?
3, I think.
No, it's more than 3. Between 4 and 5. Let's give it lower line. 4. 4 times, that's 800 litres. Have you got 800 litres of blood? Don't think so. 200 gallons of blood for the nourishment of the spiritual corpus of every individual of this world. That means for their spiritual benefit, for the spiritual, not the material. Everyone's giving blood for the body, but he's saying blood. In other words, you have to give your very existence to try to help others to wake up. Let me not desire anything but the highest good for my worst enemies. Think about it. And you know, in 1917 or something, he was in a dilemma after the departure of his Guru Maharaj and his father also. They both departed within a period of about 1 year, Bhaktivinoda Thakura and Gopkishore Das Babaji Maharaj. What to do? He was sitting in Yoga Pit, the birthplace, the area of Lord Chaitanya's appearance, nearby Vajanapada. And there he was wondering whether to try to take up this mission of preaching, because he was alone. There was no one else, basically, you know, in one sense. There were other devotees, but he wasn't really connected with them very much. He was wondering whether to preach or to withdraw and just become like Babaji. And then suddenly a note, piece of paper, floated in. It sort of blew into and he saw this paper. And it was, on the paper, it reiterated, that means it rewrote, or not rewrote, but it reminded, what a word, I don't know, but it explained the instructions of Lord Chaitanya and the Goswamis on this. And it said, preach, write books, uncover the lost places, and establish temples. These were Lord Chaitanya's instructions to Rupa and Sanatana. And that's what it said on this piece, out of mystic, it flew in like that. But he still felt a little depressed because he felt alone. He realized that even our Prabhupada was like that, he's alone. How am I going to do this alone? It's just can only try to fulfill my Guru's instruction, but I'm incapable. I'm alone. So he felt a little depressed. No support. He didn't feel he had any qualifications. He had no wealth, of course. He felt very humbled. Then, in a dreamlike vision while at Yoga Pit, the Panchatattva appeared to him, along with all of the members of the disciplic succession. The 6 Goswamis, they all appeared as Guru Maharaj, they all appeared there. And they said, Sarasvati, why are you worrying? Begin the task of establishing Shuddha Bhakti. Distribute Gauravani universally. Expand Gauranam, Gauravani and Gaurakam. That means the name of Gaura, the instructions of Gaura, and the love which the Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has brought to this world. With unbreached, no stopping, no gap. Unbreached enthusiasm, broadcast Bhaktisiddhanta. We are eternally with you to help you. The support of unlimited people, immeasurable wealth, boundless scholarship awaits the blessing to serve your mission. All will manifest when required. Come forward with full strength to distribute the message of Mahaprabhu's Prema Dharma throughout the globe. No worldly hindrance or menace will be able to obstruct this understanding of yours. We are forever with you. So don't think you're alone. We may not be so realized, but we're not alone. We may not see that, but we're not alone. And just because people don't hear, that's not a problem. It's not a problem. We try, of course, but Krishna hears. They hear. That's what counts. 1933, he wanted to start the mission international, worldwide. He sent disciples to London, to Europe. They came to Paris also. The happy day has come, he said, when we are destined to spread the message of our great master, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, to distant corners of the earth. The spiritual service to which we are dedicated is now past the bud stage and blown fully into a flower, whose aroma we have to carry across the seas with that willingness which characterized Sri Hanuman when he leapt over the wide ocean with the message of Sri Ram. This extension of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's spiritual gift to foreign countries is our humble offering at his feet. The words of instruction of Sri Gaura Sundar are verily his beautiful body. The preachers of his word through the ages are his secondary limbs. The teaching of Sri Gaura Sundar is his potent weapon, and the grace of Sri Hari himself, established in the word of Sri Chaitanya, is his eternal associate. Therefore, for the purpose of truly presenting Sri Gaura Sundar, the Lord of the Gaudiya, to the aliens, these are the people in the Western world, he would call them aliens. They're from another planet. They're in a different world altogether. They're in the world of illusion. They think it's the real world, but it's absolute illusion. Total illusion, every one of them. Whether they're running around with flags or whether they're jumping around, all illusion. They don't know what the real world is. They think it's a relative aspect of this illusory world, heaven or something. They have no idea. We would never discourage, but we have to understand beyond it. I am addressing these few words of mine to the preachers who are about to proceed to countries beyond India. I don't know, we haven't had much time to read this. It's not nearly enough time. We'll have to leave it for now. Move on with the last few points. On the morning of December 31st, 1936, I mentioned that the songs were sung. In the last few days, he had specifically requested his disciples, the last few days of his life that is, to form a GBC, a governing body commission of 10 to 12 devotees to manage the society's affairs. Thus the great Acharya, the singer guru, the uncompromising sadhu, the Vaikuntha man, as Srila Prabhupada once described him. The tireless preacher of the pure teachings of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu left this material world uttering the name of Krishna at about 5:30 a.m. on Thursday, January the 1st, 1937, and entered the pastimes of the Supreme Lord, having firmly established the foundation of a spiritual movement, which would be carried around the world by his pure servant, His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktisiddhanta Swami Prabhupada, the founder Acharya of ISKCON. Thus the Acharya's son, as he had been called by his father, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakura, passed from earthly vision, and he entered the eternal pastimes of the Lord. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati established many presses and printed thousands of books. In 1928, he even established a daily newspaper called the Nadia Prakash. When challenged how it was possible to publish a daily newspaper about God, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati explained how this world was a small place, only 1/4 of the creation compared to the spiritual world, which comprises the other 3. He further replied, here in this world there are thousands of newspapers and magazines reporting the stale, repetitious happenings of this limited space. So for reporting the news of the unlimited spiritual realm, concerning the eternal, ever-fresh, Supreme Personality of Godhead, we could publish a newspaper at every second, what to speak of daily. And by the way, he did want devotees to write. The Back to Godhead magazine was specifically for the devotees of ISKCON to write articles. We haven't managed to resurrect that. It's meant for public distribution en masse. He wanted it to be like the Time magazine. Every month, millions and millions of issues all over the world. Devotees writing on topical articles, as Prabhupada did when he was doing it on his own, and in the early days of ISKCON. Topical articles relevant to the audience. Philosophical, of course, but topical. That was what it's for, specifically for preaching. There are books within the movement, no problem. But for public preaching, Back to Godhead was an essential feature of Srila Prabhupada's mission, you could say. We call it the backbone of our movement, the backbone. And of course it's there, but it's in-house, and I don't know many devotees who actually read it. Almost everyone I speak to, those who get it don't even read it. I get it, but don't even read it. Many people get it, they don't read, they just keep it. Look at it a bit, put it down, nice magazine, looks good, and put it away. Few people read it. The Gaudiya Mass. The Gaudiya, the first magazine established in 22 as the official weekly journal of the Gaudiya Mass. The Nadia Prakash, initially as an English-Bengali magazine, but later a daily newspaper. The Bhagavat, established in 31 as a Hindi fortnightly. The Paramarthi, established in 32, a fortnightly Oriyan magazine. And Kirtana, established in 32, an Assamese monthly. He personally wrote 108 essays and books, and aside from these, he also published hundreds of articles in the Sajjana Toshni, Nivedana, Gaudiya, and Nadia Prakash. Apart from his own writing, he also published many other books. Srila Sarasvati Thakur always emphasized kirtan and talks about Krishna, and called his press the Brihat Madanga, the greater Madanga, which could be heard far and wide as opposed to just a few blocks away from the other Madanga. So that was his life and soul. We don't have time to go into his life. Hare Krishna, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati Goswami Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Now those devotees who are going on Sankirtan today, please feel free to take prasad to your heart's content now, if you want to. Those who are staying back, no one can force anyone, but it's recommended. It is a day of fasting till noon. Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj would tell his preachers, at least that's what they say, that on when they're preaching on Ekadashi, they were mostly Bengali disciples, and a Bengali without rice is like dead, and they have to eat their rice. So he said, if you have to, you can eat rice on Ekadashi, he would tell them, if you're preaching. Otherwise, no. Even the 64 rounds thing, he said, for my preachers, they don't need to chant 64 rounds. That's for those who are staying in the temple. That's for the grihastas. But the preachers, 16 rounds minimum. They're already doing the highest service. What's the point of 64 rounds? So you become a preacher. If you're already a preacher, you're already fulfilling the purpose. But you have to keep at least an anchor in the ground. Of course, they would also chant 64 rounds not that it wouldn't, but he said, if you're preaching, it wasn't an absolute requirement. The business of this movement is to propagate Krishna consciousness. This is Raganuga Bhakti, the spreading of the holy name, the spreading of the Sankirtan movement. Is not achieved by sitting in a secluded place thinking you can make the appearance of Raganuga Bhakti. It doesn't work like that. This is bestowed. This is the mercy of Lord Chaitanya on those who dedicate themselves to the preaching of this mission. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati Goswami Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Go Premanandi. Hare Krishna.